Hey, thanks for tuning in. I'm going to give you a quick story of a journey that I had coming out of the criminal justice system. But as you sit back and listen to this story, I need you to do a couple things, right? I need you to give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down, whatever one you want, because both of them help me in the YouTube algorithm. I need you to hit the subscribe button. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. When I made this video today, I have 874 subscribers. So I'm trying to get to 1,000. I can't do it without you helping me. So hit the subscribe button. If you know someone that can relate to the story you're about to hear, I need you to send that story to them, whether it's text message, Facebook, Messenger, whatever. Send them the story, because when you start sharing it, liking it, and even if you're gracious enough to drop a comment, these are the things that's going to help my page get out there and get relevant in the YouTube algorithm. So hope you enjoy it. Put your shoes on, seatbelt on. Hey there, how you doing? Tonight, I want to share a story with you. It's not one of those glitz and glamour stories. It's not a lot to it. It's just telling you what a person goes through when they come home from incarceration. There's a lot of obstacles, a lot of roadblocks that people that never was incarcerated, they wouldn't really know about. Like when I came home from prison, I was in prison cooking. I was a chef in there, or not a chef, I guess a lead cook. I cooked for the institution, for the staff, like for the warden and for the officers. I cooked for them, and I would cook for any special events that we had at the prison. I would cater to it. And I had got like serve safe. I got licensed and registered as a cook. Did a 6,000 hour program, so I'm certified as a cook. And I took like foundations level 1, foundations level 2. So I did that while locked up. And then I got released into society. And if I knew one thing that I did not want to do, well, probably two things. First thing I did not want to do was I did not want to sell drugs. Second thing was I did not want to cook anymore. But I was willing to do it. I was willing to cook if I had to. So when you're in reentry programs, that's right before you come home, they have different blocks they put you in where they start trying to program you to come home from prison. I'm going to do a video on reentry programs, a separate video. That's a good idea. But when you're in the reentry program, they have returning citizens come back into the system and talk to you about their struggles, talk to you about what they went through and obstacles they faced. So it was this guy that came back in, and he came home and he ended up being very successful. And he had challenged us. He said, man, one of the most important things I did was when I got out, I landed a job. I said, I'm going to keep this job for 12 months. Now, to some of y'all that haven't been there, that don't have these commitment issues like I got, you wouldn't understand how hard it is to keep a job for 12 months. You know, prior to that, I had real commitment issues. Like I graduated, but I didn't go to my graduation. I probably lied and cheated to every girl I dealt with. I used to just lie, cheat, and take the short way out. Any commitment that I made that was not illegal, I probably didn't keep it. So yeah, I had true commitment issues. So I was like, dang, keep a job for 12 months, that'd be easy. So I got out, fast forward, I got out of prison, was running around filling out applications. I went to McDonald's, fill out an application, knew the general manager at McDonald's. And you know, McDonald's still wouldn't hire me due to criminal background. And I'm a nonviolent drug offender, no violence in my record, nothing like that. And they wouldn't even hire me. So that was like a little stressful, a little depressing to know that a company like McDonald's wouldn't even hire you. So they sent me I was in a halfway house in Newport News, Virginia. And there was people there that used to go to a temp agency. And I was like, man, I ain't never working at a temp agency, because I know that most of my customers, when I was in the streets dealing narcotics, they were like temp agency people. So I was like, I ain't never going there to work. But lo and behold, I rode my bicycle down to the temp agency and I got a job. I think they were paying me like $7.75 or $8.25 an hour. And the first day they sent me out to Williamsburg to clean up after people had just made a mess. I had to clean up. Oh, wifey called me, hold on. So I worked that job in Williamsburg for like 2 days. Then it was over. They sent me to a job site in Hampton off of Big Bethel. They were building a church there, and I had to help lay the foundation for the church expansion. And I was like, God, I was heavy in the word then, heavier, way heavier than I am today, although I'm on a Daniel fast now. But I was like, God, you trying to tell me something? You sending me to a church every day to build the foundations of a church as I just got home from prison and trying to build my foundation. And I just was like, man, these signs and symbols, I got to read it. I got to pay attention because they said that he'd order his steps in his word. So he sent me to this temp agency. The temp agency sent me to a church. The church guy said he wanted me to come back every day. And all I was doing was like digging holes and getting things set up for the skilled laborers. I was doing all the unskilled labor work, unloading things and stuff like that. So I was there. I was happy to be working, happy to be in society, happy to be making money, and show up every day with a perfect attitude, ride my bike if I had to. And then while I was at work one day, in prison, people used to always mess with me. They say that, I talk to people that you don't need to talk to. They say I was too friendly. I would speak to people. But that was just me as a person. So one day I was there, a guy came, he had a Green Bay Packers hard hat on. So when he walked past me, I was like, okay, I see we got a Redskin fan in the house. And he was like, oh man, obviously you're blind. And we got to laughing, and he asked where was the supervisor's office at, or the general contractor's office. So I showed him where the general contractor's trailer was, walked him over to it, and went back to digging my ditch. Now I was digging a ditch over there by where he parked at. So as he went in there, he stayed in there, I didn't think nothing of it. He came out 45 minutes, maybe an hour later, I was still out there. And he said to me, man, you look like you can do something more than just dig holes in the ground. Look like you got some more skill to you. And I told him, I said, yeah. And I told him what I can do. I can do finished carpentry and a little bit of framing, but finished carpentry, I was pretty good at it. So he asked me if I had any transportation, which I think I was just getting transportation at the time. And he told me that he would hire me on the job and pay me $14 an hour, and $14.75 an hour. And he told me where to go online. I pulled my phone out. It was CLC Contracting. And I think the guy's name was Rick. So he told me he'd get me started with the job. And I thought that he was bull crapping because I was like, man, ain't nobody gonna pay me fresh out of prison. I didn't know my worth. I didn't know my value. I didn't know who I was as a person. So I was thinking that no one would pay me $14 an hour like that stinking thinking. And if they would pay me that much, they would probably just lie to me, end up owing me money, and I would have to hurt them and go back to prison. That's the whole story I told myself. After God put a blessing in front of me, I talked myself out of it. And I never went online. I never did the application. So the guy called me because we swapped numbers. He was like, hey, Thurston, I never got that application. We need you out there. And I told him a lie. The lie was that I told him my phone wouldn't let me fill out the stuff on the website. I had an iPhone. He was like, oh, no problem. So the next day I'm at work. He pulls up to the job site, hands me a paper application, and he tells me to show up at the job next Thursday. He gave me the location. It was building the Dick's Sporting Goods, doing the outside, the wood on the outside with the eagle and stuff. Was it Dick's or was it what has an eagle? It was like a Bass Pro Shop or something. Because we had to lift this huge bird up and put it up in the atrium up top. But it was like an A-frame. Anyway, he gave me the paper application, said fill it out, show up, go to work, turn the application in after the day over. So I was like, man, this is crazy. I tried to duck it, and God just got something else for me. So I filled the application out, boom. And I'm still thinking like I got to keep the same job for 12 months. So I filled the application out, show up at work. I ran and got me a new tool belt, box cutter, hammer. Showed up at work with a fresh tool belt that never been bent before, no dirt on it. Brand new speed, square tape measure, hammer, and a little chisel. The guy was laughing at me. He was like, oh man, you got new equipment. I know you don't know what you're doing. So I was like, okay, I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm here to prove to myself that I can do this, not to you. So I just, went to work, man. And it was funny because after that job was done, after the day that we hung the bird and nailed the last piece of wood up, they called us in the office and let us go. But, God's good because they sent me to another company the very next day called Crofton Construction. It was a marine construction company. So I go there, I start learning about diesel engines and cranes, hydraulic cranes, friction cranes, working on them, restoring them, breaking them down, moving them, taking them to job sites. And I became a diesel mechanic. It was like the dirtiest thing I ever did, but I stuck with it. And guess how long I stuck with it? I stuck with it for a year. They hired me on permanently. I got my forklift operation license, and I just got licensed in like OSHA, job site safety. I was just doing a lot of stuff. I even got a CDL because Virginia has a program when you get out of prison. They'll help you with the Workforce Commission. They'll help you get a certificate so you don't have to go back to prison. So I used to go on the weekends. I would go and study for my CDL license, and I did get a CDL while I was there. So I used to be able to drive trucks around the yard sometimes. And I stayed at Crofton for a while. It was a beautiful place to be, but unfortunately it didn't work out for me in the end. I had wanted to get promoted, and they didn't see me fit to be promoted. So I kept watching other people get promoted, and I would still be down in the dirt changing oil, and I got tired of being the dirtiest one on the job site, and ended up getting out of there. But I guess what I was saying, where I'm going, and I told you my whole journey, because if you're watching this, you're probably going to go through it. You may be someone just coming home from prison or just getting into the workforce. And there was a lot of things I dealt with mentally because I hadn't really worked before, so I didn't know how to process and respond to certain situations. But I'm telling you this because when I came home, man, McDonald's wouldn't even hire me. They wouldn't even give me a job, so I had to really fight. I had to struggle. I had to find my way. And when a brother that told me to keep a job for 12 months, it's a lot that goes into keeping a job for 12 months. It's a whole lot to go into it, more than most people think about, because for one, you got to show up, all right? You got to make sure that you ain't doing nothing to get fired. You can't be out Saturday night, Sunday night, or either Friday night partying, getting wasted, drinking, smoking, messing your body up because it's going to affect your work performance. You got to be responsible. If you're not driving and you have a support system that's working and helping you get to work and back from work, you got to be like a stand-up guy at home in order for that support system to work, whether it's a girlfriend, an aunt, cousin, boyfriend, niece, nephew, whoever it is. Most people not going to do it for free. So like it just, a whole lot of sacrifices went into me trying to keep that job for 12 months. I stayed there for a couple years. So it was actually a blessing, and I was blessed that that guy came in and gave me that piece of advice. So the best advice I want to give you: don't go back to doing what you used to do. Stay as far from it as possible, and land you a job when you get out. When you do land that job, try to keep that job for 12 months and just show yourself that you can keep that commitment, that you can be responsible, that you can be on time, that you can budget your money. Budgeting was a new thing. I had to learn how to do that. And it was around that time when I was at that job that I met my wife. And I'm going to tell you the story about me meeting my wife too. When she walked across the street, I knew I was going to marry her. But that's enough for today. I just wanted to share a story that when people come home from prison, it's tough, man. It's tough. And then you see some people come in or come home with you and they get jobs, they get opportunity. You may not get that opportunity. Some people come out, get killed. Some people go back to selling drugs. Some people just go and start womanizing immediately. So just whatever your aim is, whatever your goal is, take some time and believe in yourself and do this for yourself. Do what's right for yourself. That's what I want to ask for you to do today. Stay heavily motivated. Thank you for watching this far to the end. If you did make it, I want you to go ahead and give me a thumbs up. If you like it, give me a thumbs down. If you don't, drop a comment because that helps. And please hit the subscribe button. We need more subscribers, okay? I got to get into the YouTube algorithm hard. So hit the subscribe button. Thank you.